She'd been invisible for years, until a billionaire finally saw her and waited. "Stay. I was waiting for you." Nova's hand froze midair. The man on her screen wasn't her manager, it was him, Adrian Holt, CEO of Holt Global, worth $72 billion, eyes like a storm about to break. Her breath caught. She'd clicked the wrong Zoom link and landed in a room where careers are made or erased. For 10 years, Nova Ellington had stayed quiet, skipped lunches, watched her ideas wear someone else's name. She was invisible. Until now. "I know who you are," Holt said. "Nova Ellington. You wrote The Shift." Her pulse spiked. That proposal wasn't shared. It wasn't finished. For a second, she wondered if her screen had turned into a mirror, because the way he looked at her, it felt like he could see everything she'd ever tried to hide. "How did you—" "I see things before others do," he said. "That's how I built an empire." And in that instant, Nova knew this wasn't an accident. It was an invitation, a door that could change everything. What would you do if the most powerful man said he'd been waiting for you? Keep watching and find out where this wrong meeting really leads. Nova's breath hitched, but her hand didn't move. She should have left the meeting. She didn't. Something in his voice, steady, deliberate, rooted her in place. "Don't leave, Miss Ellington." The words slid through the speakers like a command, not a request. Her chest tightened. She checked the participant list again. No one else. Just her. Just him. "This must be a mistake," she whispered. "I was trying to join my team's call." "It's not a mistake," Holt replied. "You're exactly where you need to be." The calm in his tone unsettled her. His eyes didn't leave the camera. She felt seen in a way that was uncomfortable, like he could read the thoughts behind her face. The silence stretched. Her laptop fan hummed loud in the quiet room. "What is this meeting about?" she asked. "You," Holt said simply. Her throat went dry. Nothing about this made sense. CEOs didn't summon mid-level employees on accident. Yet, here she was, trapped between fear and something that felt almost like curiosity. Holt leaned back, hands folded. "I came across a proposal this week," he said. "Digital restructure. Your name was on it." Nova blinked. "That file isn't public." "It found its way to my desk." Her mind raced. That document lived in a private folder, unfinished, unshared. Only one friend had seen a draft. Someone had gone into her system. "How did you get it?" she asked. "Does it matter?" His eyes narrowed. "I just want to know if you meant what you wrote." Her pulse hammered. The proposal criticized every inefficiency in Crawford Digital. If he'd read it, he knew she questioned leadership, processes, everything. "I wrote it to think, not to act," she said. "And yet, it's exactly what this company needs." The room felt smaller. Her screen, colder. She realized the real question wasn't how he found it, but why he cared. Holt spoke again, slower this time. "Explain it to me." "Sir? Your plan. I want to hear it from you." Nova hesitated. The air between them thickened with pressure. Her palms were damp against the keyboard. I was analyzing the approval flow," she began. "Too many steps, too many signatures. Projects stall before they live." He said nothing. Encouraged by his silence, she went on. "If we shorten the path, trust the teams, we move twice as fast. Efficiency isn't just numbers, it's freedom." She caught her breath. It sounded bold out loud. Holt's face gave nothing away. For a moment, the only sound was her heartbeat in her ears. She wondered if she'd just destroyed her career in front of the most powerful man she'd ever meet. Then he nodded once. "Go on." Something inside her steadied. She found her voice again. When she finished, Holt closed the folder in front of him. The pause that followed felt endless. "You see problems even my consultants missed," he said. Nova's lips parted. Was that praise or accusation? Her pulse refused to slow. "I was only trying to help," she murmured. "Good," Holt replied. Because I need help. He looked directly at her. I'm forming a special task force to rebuild this division. I want you on it. Nova stared at the screen. Me? You, he confirmed. The words landed like a weight and a gift at once. She didn't trust them. Opportunities like this didn't appear from mistakes. I'll have my office reach out, he added, ending the call without goodbye. Her reflection flickered on the black screen. She sat there, still, trying to understand what had just happened, wondering if she'd been chosen or caught. The next morning, Nova walked into the office early, hoping to disappear into routine. Patricia's voice cut through the quiet. Nova, my office, now. Inside, the blinds were drawn. Patricia stood by the window, arms crossed, a perfect smile stretched thin. I heard you met Mr. Holt, she said. Nova's stomach tightened. It was accidental, she replied. Patricia's eyes sharpened. Accidents don't get you on a billionaire's calendar. Silence filled the space. Patricia stepped closer, lowering her voice. You might want to be careful what you share. Mr. Holt doesn't appreciate employees who talk out of turn. The words were polite, but the threat underneath was unmistakable. Nova nodded, unsure if this was jealousy or fear. As she left the office, she felt Patricia's gaze follow her, heavy, measuring. For the first time, Nova understood something simple and dangerous. Power didn't always roar. Sometimes it whispered warnings disguised as advice. By noon, Nova's phone buzzed. A message from Jessica. Need to talk. Urgent. They met by the stairwell, away from cameras. Jessica's eyes darted around. Someone accessed your draft, she whispered. What? I traced the login. It came from Patricia's personal email. Nova froze. That's impossible. It's not. She downloaded your proposal last week. Her pulse spiked. The truth landed like a slap. Patricia hadn't just warned her, she had stolen from her. Jessica bit her lip. You have to be careful. If she's covering her tracks, you're already part of her story. Nova exhaled slowly. Then I need to find out why. Jessica nodded, worry etched deep. Don't face her alone. But Nova already knew she would. The betrayal burned hotter than fear. That afternoon, Nova's inbox lit up twice. First, an email from Adrian Holt's office. Dinner meeting, 7:00 p.m. Confidential. Second, a text from Patricia. Come to my office, urgent. Her heart thudded. 2 invitations, 2 opposite directions. The CEO who saw potential, or the boss who stole it. She stared at both messages, the screen dividing her choices like a mirror. Her reflection looked tired, older than yesterday. Jessica's voice echoed in her mind. Don't face her alone. But she had to know what Patricia wanted. Nova typed back a reply. On my way. As she walked to the office, she felt the strange pull of 2 powers, one offering opportunity, the other threatening ruin, and both somehow waiting for her. Patricia didn't look up when Nova entered. She stood behind her desk, hands gripping the edge. So, she said finally, you've been busy impressing Mr. Holt. Nova stayed quiet. Patricia turned, eyes hard. Your proposal eliminates my position, you know. Clever way to get ahead. That wasn't my intent, Nova replied. It wasn't even supposed to be sent. But it was, because I sent it, Patricia said, chin high, to protect the company from chaos, from people like you. Nova's throat tightened. You stole it. Patricia smiled faintly. You should thank me. Without me, Holt wouldn't even know your name. The smile vanished as fast as it came. Now you'll help me fix this, or I'll ruin you. The threat hit like ice water. Nova realized this wasn't anger, it was fear, disguised as control. Patricia leaned closer, voice calm, too calm. You'll work with me, quietly. We'll manage Holt's expectations together. And if I don't? Nova asked. Patricia picked up her phone, scrolling. Then I'll share your little collection of emails, the ones where you called Holt Industries a soulless machine. I'm sure he'd appreciate that honesty. Nova stared at her. You went through my messages. I go through everything. Patricia replied. That's how I survive. The room felt colder, smaller. Nova's job, her future, even her reputation, balanced on the edge of that phone. You can't threaten me forever, Nova said quietly. Patricia smiled. I don't need forever, just long enough. Nova walked out without another word, her hands trembling. It wasn't fear that followed her down the hallway. It was rage, sharp, clean, and waiting for a way out. That night, the Monarch glowed with quiet elegance. Nova arrived early, nerves sharp beneath her calm expression. Adrian Holt was already seated, posture straight, eyes unreadable. He gestured to the chair across from him. Miss Ellington, he said, voice steady. Thank you for coming. She managed a polite smile. Thank you for the invitation. A server poured wine. The glass trembled slightly in her hand. Holt studied her for a moment, then said, Tell me about your conversation with Patricia Lane. Her breath caught. You know about that? I know most things that happen in my companies. He spoke like a man who never asked questions he didn't already know the answers to. Nova tried to mask her surprise. She's worried, Nova admitted. My proposal threatened her position. Holt nodded. She's been worried for months. He leaned forward slightly. Did she make you an offer? Nova hesitated. The truth burned on her tongue. The silence between them pressed close, too heavy to ignore. She offered me a deal, Nova said finally. A partnership. She wanted me to report back to her. Holt's expression didn't change. And you considered it? I didn't accept, she replied quickly. He nodded once. Good. That was the test. She frowned. You knew she'd approach me? I wanted to see how you'd respond. The words unsettled her. So, I was part of an experiment? Call it an evaluation, he said quietly. I don't promote people I can't trust. Nova sat back, the tension in her chest tightening. He hadn't been testing Patricia, he'd been testing her. Mr. Holt, she said, voice low, I don't appreciate being used. He didn't flinch. You passed. That's what matters. For reasons she couldn't explain, that didn't feel like comfort. Holt refilled his glass but didn't drink. There's more at stake here than office politics, he said. I'm assembling an internal investigation team. I need someone who sees what others hide. Nova froze. You're asking me to investigate Patricia? I'm asking you to observe, quietly. Her thoughts spun. She was a marketing specialist, not a detective. Why me? Because you ask the right questions, Holt replied, and you don't back away from uncomfortable truths. He studied her face as if measuring her limits. I'll provide access and protection. In return, I expect honesty, no leaks, no hesitation. Nova's heart pounded. The offer was both terrifying and intoxicating. A chance to be seen, to matter, but at what cost? I need time to think, she whispered. Of course, Holt said. You'll have until morning. She nodded, unsure if she was agreeing to an opportunity or walking into a trap. As they waited for dessert, Nova's thoughts tangled into questions she couldn't silence. Are you asking me to spy? Holt didn't blink. I'm asking you to find the truth. There's a difference. People could lose their jobs because of what I uncover, or because of what remains hidden, he countered. His voice was calm, but his words carried weight. Truth isn't a weapon, Miss Ellington. It's light. Use it wisely. She looked down at her hands. And if I refuse? You'll still have your job, he said, but you'll never know what really controls this company. That sentence struck deeper than she expected. Nova realized she wasn't just being offered power, she was being asked to confront her own limits. Somewhere between morality and ambition, she heard the faint sound of her own heartbeat choosing a side. When Holt finally stood, the air around him shifted from conversation to command. Trust no one, he said. The server brought the check. Holt ignored it. My office will arrange transportation. Tomorrow morning, 9 sharp. Her phone buzzed a moment later. Car will pick you up at 8:30 a.m. The message came from his assistant. Nova tucked the phone away, unsure if she was relieved or frightened. He met her gaze one last time. In this business, information is currency. Spend it carefully. Outside, the Chicago night pressed cold against the restaurant windows. Nova walked to the waiting car, each step heavier than the last. She didn't know if she'd been recruited or warned. But one thing was clear. The next day, her life would no longer belong entirely to her. Later that night, Nova was still replaying Holt's words when a knock echoed through her apartment. She opened the door to find Ryan standing there, a nervous smile on his face. "Hey," he said. "Patricia called me." Nova stiffened. "Patricia?" "She said you were having computer issues. Asked if I could drop off this USB, some kind of software update." He held it out. A small, ordinary flash drive. But something in his tone felt wrong. Nova didn't move. "She gave this to you personally?" "Yeah," Ryan said. "She said it's urgent." Nova's stomach turned. Her voice stayed calm. "Did she tell you what it's for?" "No. She just wanted me to make sure you installed it tonight." The air in the room thickened. Nova reached for the USB, studying it like a weapon disguised as plastic. "Ryan," she said softly, "do you even know what this would do?" He frowned. "It's just an update, right?" Nova met his eyes. "No, it's a trap." And for the first time she saw confusion fade into fear on his face. Ryan blinked. "What do you mean, a trap?" "She's using you," Nova said. "That device isn't an update, it's spyware." Ryan's face flushed. "No, that can't be right. Patricia said it was important." "Important for her," Nova snapped. "Not for me." The words hit hard. Ryan's jaw tightened. "You always think you're smarter than everyone else." "I'm trying to protect us." He looked away, shame flickering in his eyes. "She said you were being considered for a promotion. I just wanted to help." Nova felt her anger crumble into disbelief. "You let her manipulate you?" Ryan's voice broke. "I didn't know." Silence stretched between them until it cracked. "Maybe we need space," he said quietly. He set the USB on the table and left without looking back. Moments later, Nova's phone buzzed, a message from Holt. "Everyone has motives." She stared at the screen, tears burning her eyes. Trust was starting to feel like a luxury she could no longer afford. Morning came heavy and gray. Nova walked into the office, still hollow from the night before. Her phone lit up. A message from Jessica. "They're suspending me. HR meeting in 10 minutes. Nova froze. "Why?" Jessica's reply came fast. "Unauthorized system access. Someone reported me." Nova didn't need to ask who. Patricia was cleaning up every loose end. She typed back quickly. "Don't say anything yet. I'll fix this." Jessica's last message came through. "Be careful. She's panicking." Nova slipped her phone away. Around her, the office buzzed like normal, but the air felt poisoned. She realized Patricia wasn't just protecting herself. She was burning everything that could expose her. The game had changed. If Nova didn't act now, Jessica would be destroyed, and Patricia would walk away clean. That night, Nova stood in front of the bathroom mirror, exhaustion carving shadows under her eyes. Her reflection looked like someone she barely knew, tired, angry, but still standing. "If I stay silent, I lose myself," she whispered. "If I fight, I risk everything." She thought of Jessica's trust, Ryan's mistake, Holt's warning. Trust no one. But if she didn't fight, Patricia would keep winning. Nova exhaled slowly, steadying herself. She picked up her phone and typed a message to Holt. "I want to meet. Sooner." Seconds later, the reply came. "Tomorrow morning. My hotel. Confidential." She set the phone down and looked back at the mirror. For the first time in years, she saw not fear, but choice. Before dawn, Nova met Jessica in a small break room near the server floor. The building was half empty. "I shouldn't be here," Jessica whispered. "I know," Nova said, "but we're out of time." They accessed the financial archive using Jessica's temporary credentials, screens filled with rows of numbers. "Look at this," Jessica murmured. "Client payments. The totals don't match." Nova leaned closer. "Where's the missing balance?" Jessica traced the code line by line until she stopped. "Offshore account. Same vendor ID repeated for 18 months. Nova's heart dropped. How much? 2 million. Jessica clicked again. Patricia's digital signature appeared beside each transaction. The proof was undeniable. Nova copied the files to a secure drive, her hands trembling. This is it. Jessica looked at her, fear flickering. If we get caught, we won't, Nova said. We can't. Because now it wasn't just about her job. It was about justice and survival. Nova stepped out of the stairwell, clutching the USB in her hand. The hallway was quiet, too quiet. Then Patricia appeared at the end of it, arms folded, eyes cold. "Return what you stole," Patricia said. Her tone was calm, but her voice shook under the surface. "I didn't steal anything," Nova replied. "You accessed private files," Patricia continued. "That's grounds for termination. And your friend Jessica? She'll be gone by noon." Nova didn't move. "You're threatening her now?" Patricia's smile was thin. "I'm protecting myself. You'd do the same if you were smart." The words rolled off her like smoke. Nova straightened, her pulse steady. "No, Patricia, I'd do the right thing." For a moment, neither spoke. Then Nova said it, quiet but firm. "You're done, Patricia." The older woman's face twisted in disbelief. "You have no idea who you're dealing with." Nova met her gaze. "Neither do you." She walked past without looking back, holding the USB tighter. It wasn't courage that carried her forward. It was clarity. Outside, the wind hit hard, cold against her skin. Nova gripped the USB so tightly her knuckles ached. She looked over her shoulder, half expecting Patricia to follow, but the only sound was traffic and the hum of the city waking up. A black sedan idled at the curb. The driver stepped out. "Miss Ellington?" "Yes," she said. Her voice barely held. He opened the back door. "Mr. Holt is expecting you." Nova slid into the car, her heart pounding. Fear and adrenaline tangled together until she couldn't tell one from the other. As the city blurred past the window, she thought about what she was carrying. Proof that could destroy careers and lives, or, maybe, finally, save her own. She looked down at the USB resting in her palm. $2 million worth of secrets. Whatever waited ahead, she knew this was the point of no return. The car stopped in front of a quiet downtown hotel. Inside, Holt sat at a polished table, sleeves rolled up as if this were just another business day. Nova handed him the USB without a word. He inserted it, scrolling through the files with steady focus. "That confirms everything," he said at last. Nova crossed her arms. "You knew all along, didn't you?" Holt looked up. "I suspected, but suspicion isn't proof." He clicked through another document. "You did good work, Nova. This will close every gap she left." Her voice was sharper now. "You used me to gather evidence." "I gave you the chance to prove what you already knew," he countered. "That takes courage." For a moment, the air between them felt like glass, fragile and reflective. Nova wasn't sure if she'd been protected or played. Maybe both. Holt closed the laptop and stood. "There's one more thing," he said. He walked to the door and opened it. Two men in dark suits stepped inside, badges glinting under the light. "Mr. Ellington," one of them said. "Thank you for your cooperation." Nova blinked. "FBI?" Holt nodded. "Financial fraud crosses state lines. They've been monitoring Patricia's accounts for months. Your data completes the case." The agents began gathering documents. One handed Nova a paper. "You're officially a cooperating witness. You've done the right thing." The words felt unreal. She wasn't sure whether to feel relief or shock. Holt met her eyes. "You were never alone in this. You just didn't know it yet." Nova exhaled, realizing the weight she'd been carrying wasn't just evidence. It was the truth everyone else had ignored. Later that afternoon, the office buzzed with whispers. Through the glass walls, Nova saw Patricia escorted out in handcuffs. Employees gathered in clusters, pretending to work but watching every step. Some whispered pity, others satisfaction. Patricia's eyes locked on Nova's as she passed. There was no anger left, only disbelief. Nova didn't gloat. She simply stood still, spine straight, face unreadable. The elevator doors closed, cutting off the noise. David Reynolds from upper management turned to Nova. "Mr. Holt wants to see you in his office," he said quietly. She nodded. Around her, people returned to their screens, pretending nothing had happened. But something had. For the first time, Nova wasn't invisible. She had faced power, deception, and fear, and she was still standing. Justice didn't feel like triumph. It felt like breathing after holding it for too long. The office felt hollow without Patricia's sharp perfume or constant orders. The plaque outside her door had already been replaced. Nova Ellington, Interim Director. Holt stood by the window, sleeves rolled to his elbows, city lights reflected behind him. "You've earned this," he said simply. "Crawford needs someone who can rebuild it from the inside." Nova nodded, but inside she felt no thrill, only weight. "Thank you," she murmured. When he left, silence filled the room. Papers, pens, and stale air, the traces of a fallen empire. She touched the edge of the desk that wasn't hers yesterday. The leather felt cold, unfamiliar. Through the glass walls she could see people working, whispering, pretending not to stare. She sat down, staring at the skyline stretching beyond the window. For a moment she imagined Patricia sitting here, calculating her next move. "This isn't victory," Nova whispered. "It's survival." The city hummed below, unforgiving, endless. Power didn't feel like success. It felt like standing in a storm after the rain, the ground still shaking beneath your feet, knowing the next wave could come any time. And yet, for the first time, Nova didn't flinch. She was still here, still breathing, still choosing. 2 nights later, a soft knock broke the quiet. Ryan stood outside her door, coat wrinkled, eyes red. He looked smaller than she remembered. "I was scared," he said, voice cracking. "Scared to lose you." Nova's arms crossed automatically. "You almost did." He nodded, shame flickering across his face. "When Patricia called, I thought I was helping. I thought if I did something right, maybe you'd see I still belonged in your world." Her anger faltered. "Ryan, you never needed to prove that. You just needed to believe it." He looked down, hands trembling. "I didn't trust myself, and when I don't trust me, I don't trust you either." The truth landed heavy. They stood in silence, the kind that exposed everything. Finally, Nova stepped closer. "You hurt me," she said quietly, "but fear makes fools out of good people." Ryan's eyes filled. "I'll do better, if you let me try." Her shoulders eased. One step, then another. When their arms found each other, the walls finally broke. The tears weren't dramatic. They were quiet, almost grateful. It wasn't forgiveness yet, but it was love, bruised, imperfect, and still alive. 6 months later, the boardroom gleamed with sunlight. The company had changed. New systems, new culture, fewer secrets. At the head of the table, Nova stood poised, calm, certain. Her slides illuminated the wall behind her. Data, vision, and something deeper, conviction. "If we build transparency," she said, "we build trust. People don't follow titles, they follow truth." Around her, executives nodded. Some took notes. Others simply listened. At the far end, Holt watched, hands clasped, expression unreadable but proud. "This plan," Nova continued, "isn't about fixing what's broken. It's about creating what should have existed all along. Honesty, clarity, purpose." She paused, glancing at Holt. "Mistakes lead us where we need to be." The room fell silent. Then applause rose. Not loud, but sincere. For years, Nova had spoken to walls. Today, people listened. When the meeting ended, Holt gave her a quiet nod. It said everything. "You've become what I saw that day." As she left the room, sunlight caught her reflection on the glass wall. She didn't see a survivor anymore. She saw a leader. After the meeting, Holt walked beside her to the corner window. The skyline shimmered in gold, Chicago stretching beyond the glass like a promise. "That first Zoom meeting," Nova said softly, "was it really an accident?" Holt's mouth curved slightly. "Why do you ask?" She smiled faintly. Because it changed everything. He studied her face, quiet amusement in his eyes. Accidents have their uses. That's not an answer, she said. He turned toward the window. What do you think? Nova looked out at the city, the place that had once swallowed her whole. I think, she said slowly, you were waiting for me all along. Holt didn't deny it, just nodded once, the hint of a smile returning. Their reflections stood side by side, two people who had tested each other, trusted, doubted, survived. Some stories start with purpose. Others begin by mistake. This one, Nova realized, had been both. As Holt left the room, she lingered by the glass, the city glowing like a heartbeat beneath her. Sometimes destiny doesn't knock. It sends a wrong link and waits for you to click it. Sometimes the wrong meeting changes everything. Nova Ellington once walked into the world unseen, unheard, believing silence was safety. But the moment she faced the truth, and herself, everything shifted. Money can open doors, but it can't buy the peace that comes from integrity. Titles can impress a room, but they can't replace the weight of self-respect. And love, fragile, flawed, human, remains the only thing that reminds us why the fight is worth it. Nova learned that survival and victory aren't the same. Survival is standing your ground when the world shakes beneath you. Victory is refusing to lose your soul while you do it. She no longer chased approval, promotions, or praise. She had something rarer, clarity. Those who once overlooked her now looked to her, but the real triumph wasn't the office or the title. It was the quiet certainty that she had chosen honesty over fear. If you've ever been ignored, betrayed, or made to feel small, remember this. One unexpected moment can turn everything around. The wrong link, the wrong meeting, the wrong start. Each can still lead you to the right destiny. Because sometimes the mistake isn't a mistake, it's the universe deciding it's finally your turn to be seen.